Hello everyone, this is Greyshot17.
And Greyshot151 here.
And today I am proud to show you the Soviet commanders. That's right, we're going over all the Soviet commanders in the tree, right?
We couldn't afford them.
What do you mean we couldn't afford them?
We couldn't afford to host them in this episode. As the accountant of the company, I wasn't able to afford their guest host. But I was able to buy some land. And this is the land that I found. 4v4 land as far as the eye can see. Listen, perfect for battles, engagements, bombings, tank rushes, and much, much more on a grand scale.
As long as you didn't try to purchase any of the shitty, discontinued 4v4 maps, because those are worthless. Otherwise, you're just wasting money.
So don't look at the budget this month.
Oh, god damn it.
But in any case, yes, so we are diving into the 4v4 maps of COH2, both new, current, and old.
So a lot of these are what you can currently play on 4v4 when you would load up a public game.
Yes.
Auto match, we will have that and we'll mention it, but you might see a map or two that is technically 4v4. Also, I'm seeing a map on here that I fucked up on that I added. A very clear one, but we'll get to that.
Winter?
Yes. So we're just going
put that in the F category.
Yeah, we're just going to ignore that.
Because it's not.
Ignore it. My own mistake. Hey, he makes enough of them. It's about time I make one. Yes, I made this.
Yeah.
Man, you can really see how deep.
Exactly. That's why I had to pay him to make this. And
yes, exactly.
Look how poor of a job he did.
No, you just took away my memory. Just like how you took away my memory of watching Hellboy or watching any number of bad shows. Dark Phoenix and all those other movies and shows we've watched this year.
But here, let's get to the maps.
The Godzilla anime movie, all sorts of stuff.
Well, here, as we said, this is the 4v4 map, so we are going to be judging not based on their fun level, their
design.
Their design.
As designers ourselves.
Yes. Essentially, their uniqueness in regards to just playing on the maps. How does it feel? Like, there's a few categories.
And also balancing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, for example, Face Off Photo Stuff. I love this map.
I'd say it's a solid.
But it is... I'll give it a D because it is horribly balanced. The fact that you can literally pin the enemy down with artillery at the bridges and destroy all of them, even to this day, is a horrible design choice.
You say...
But I love this map, which is why it's not an F. This is like the Godzilla 1998, where people say that's like a bad movie, like they love. That's what Face of Rostov is. It's a bad map I love because it's so ridiculously stupid.
Can we put? I would agree with that. It was a good map. I love fighting on the island. The ice was just fun. It was so much like danger. And yeah, if they would have fixed the one side, I think it would have been perfect. But
hey guys, we're gonna have a river cut straight through the map. No, cut 2/3 way through the map. Sir, won't that be a balance issue?
Nah, we got this. But no, yeah, that was in the early days when they didn't really have Stukas and such. So
let's go with another map that's maybe a little bit better in overall design.
Okay.
Let's go with Montargis region.
F.
Yeah. Okay.
F.
Yeah. Fuck that map. Oh my god.
It is a pain and just a cruelty to play on because. If people get the fuel, it's game over. Like, you just fight for the fuel, that's it. There's nothing else to fight for in that map.
And you can lock it down. It's not like it's even weirdly imbalanced because one side it's easier to block that top area than the other. And when you block that area off, you can literally make sure the enemy can't get up because there's only 2 ways up. So you can MG it.
Yeah. It's just, there's also so many like little pathways and it's so convoluted that it's just an overly designed map with strange placement of stars and resources that deserves an F tier.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's add more. No, please.
Let's go.
But you know what adds more that does it actually decently well? Lord's Assault. I'm giving that a B.
I agree with that because especially the new Lord's Assault.
Yes, I like the fact that it does have 5 stars. It's different than other co-maps. That keeps a unique flair. But unlike Montargis region, each area is unique, different, and actually decently balanced.
Yeah.
Like, the fuel munitions are both really nicely spaced.
Yes.
They're not... the munitions in the middle, and the fuel's closer to each base, so you don't have to worry about the enemy taking it. But you still have to worry about the enemy capturing the capture points, which I like. It adds a new
plus you
variable.
have this like variable of like, okay, what 3 stars do you go for? Do you go the 2 to the south and 1 in the top? Do you go for all 3 in the top and none in the south? Like, Also, if let's say you're fighting with OKW and the enemy's fighting like British and you can't fight him in the open like in the south, do you just fight in that like the North Castle and then do you just go 2 stars in the north? It's like there's a lot of little factors to go into which make it entertaining. And I do agree. It is unique and it is a memorable map.
Also, you have the wide open mid, you have this urban center up north, you have a close quarters castle, and then you have like a
1v1
like semi 1v1 a little bit urban area down south. My only gripe is the city that they made down there favors one more side more than the other, but they did fix that in the most recent patch with the cavern that goes into the castle and the new building that goes on.
For me personally, it's not a map. I definitely say it's a good map. It's just not one of my favorites because I like smaller maps.
Drawbacks, it's weird because it does turn to a 3v3 and 1v1, and the negative gripes I will have about it is it's weirdly, because of the castle, you can choke point the bottom very easily, and that can
plus if one team wins, they win so fast that you never have a time for a comeback. Like
that is a negative.
They get all 5 stars and you're down to 200 in like the blink of an eye. You're just like, how are we supposed to come back from this?
I think reducing a 1 star might make sure that like rush victory is not as prevalent.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
So let's go with the classic map of all time. Far right, third to the right.
This one?
Yes.
Oh, God. Okay, here's the thing.
Yes.
I am going to say this. For being what essentially is... Look, Sit Hard Summer is...
Was sit on your butt and argue the enemy to oblivion summer.
But here's the thing. We must base this on design, balance, and overall fun factor. And I'm giving Sit Hard Summer a fucking A. On memeness alone, it gets to B. And
are you in? I was gonna say S tier, but okay.
Wait, you want to put? No. I
don't know why. It is the ultimate FU map.
Yes, it is.
There's no other map that just says FU to the enemy like that one. You get artillery, you get strikes, you get call-ins. You put all the munition caches you can down because fuel, you'll have plenty of that. And then you just arty, full blown.
There's one thing that keeps it out for being S tier.
What?
The lag. When you get to the point where both sides are just artying the hell out of each other, it is the laggiest map you will ever play on.
Yeah,
it is down. So cluttered, and there's so much stuff on there that the lag will bring it down to like 10 FPS, even on a really good PC. So, yeah, and also this is a map notorious for having people drop in the last 10 minutes, and then just swing in the game. So yeah, that's what I would recommend.
Okay, yeah, touche.
But anyway, so the only map we've so far talked to that's on the actual auto match list is Lorch Assault. So let's get
another current map.
Yeah, City 17 winner. I'm kidding. This is not on. They took this off. Overall, it's City 17, but more. There's again, you could technically supposed to be Blizzards,
but they're not in the game anymore.
Yeah, and they kind of.
It feels like a map that's kind of outdated by its time. Like it has a few features, but it's just average. There's like City. I had to argue that if we have the actual City 17, that would be probably a B map. Like I think there's a little too many pathways and it's a little too cluttered. But and it definitely favors like
a 2v2 type setup.
It's a 2v2 setup, and also favors the Germans, I think, because it favors tanks that have rotating turrets. Where the Soviets are definitely at a disadvantage with the Su-85 and the Su-76, because you have to go straight down a corridor, but the Panthers can like run around you like no tomorrow.
I wouldn't say that, but I would say on this map the one thing I do. There's lots of ways you can cut through the map, and I feel like a lot of people, especially got frustrated because of the map and how it's designed, where you could easily cut the resources. They fixed that, but there's a point where you took the enemy munitions, and that would literally cut the resources in half for a team, which sucks. But what I also would say about this map is there are certain features about maps I really enjoy, and this is a very good, solid map, but there isn't a side or an angle that I'm like, I love playing on this area. I think this is really well done. It just feels kind of plainish.
It feels good. It just doesn't feel like memorable, and while both sides are unique in different ways, like I like one is a hill and one is more like a factory like sector. It's just you like the sides, but you hate going center. Like fighting in the center of this map is also just like, I have to switch.
We have to go for the star.
I have to go over here. Yeah, it's not like a natural progression. Where I would think like other maps do it better by having people go center. Like if we can go to Let's say Liam Forest.
All right, we will go Lee and
Dead center.
Forest. I found Lee and Forest. I think this is an A map.
Yes, because I think people naturally can go center here.
Well, do you think it's an A map or an S map? Because here's the thing. I like the urban.
Yes.
You have a wide open mid that has a train station that kind of cuts out the idea of like a straight through pass.
Yeah.
Sure, one side's maybe a little bit more favorable than the other, but technically there's still brush and debris there. I do think that maybe is a negative, but then the other side can't exactly charge across as easily as they might like to. Sure, there is passageways, but that could be so choke pointy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'd say it does favor one side a smidge.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, I'd actually say S tier because it's unique. The forest is definitely.
Oh yeah, in the forest.
Urban.
Yeah.
They're two different sets, but just because they're two different areas, it's not like a 2v2.
Yeah.
Like it very much can swing. Like two people go center, two people go left. Like it's small enough where people can swing into different lanes very easily. But it's also not small enough that you feel like you're getting doubled all the time. It's very much a natural flow to things. Like three people might swing forest and knock them out, and then one person might fortify, and then the rest go the other parts. So it has a nice flow to it.
Yes, where again C17, you're in a 2v2 scenario. Sure, you can change that, but you're essentially giving the enemy position. Here, honestly, I prefer forest, but if you take city and let the enemy take forest, or vice versa, there's an actual arguable strategy to allowing the enemy to have a little bit more flow, because once again, this map is set up to where you can get the munitions or the fuel both very easily if you focus on one side or the other. Where C17, if you let the enemy push you back on one side, they can easily, specifically C17, you can be choke pointed outside your map.
Yeah.
Where in this, sure, they could push you in the forest, but they're killing themselves if they try to push through there.
I'd also argue it's a little bit...
Because there's so many ways around. You could flank their army and kill them.
There's a lot of nice choke points areas, and there's a lot of nice, there's enough areas where you can, flank your enemy without it feeling like there's 1,000 ways to get flanked.
Yeah.
There's a few core ways, and there's not enough ways to cover all of them.
Yes.
So you have to think about what the enemy's going to do. Is the enemy going to rush through the trees in the forest? Are they going to do a massive swing around the train station?
Yes.
There are a few areas that you can swing around, but there's not enough to drive you crazy, and that's what I like. Also,
the design of it is very unique.
Yes, I like the design. I actually think it's colorful. It has
yes,
a nice
it does.
color.
It again, compared to City 17, where it's very brown and barren. I get it's supposed to be a Soviet city, but still, Land Force has the brown, a little bit more city, but it has a little more color, and then
a little bit more green, a little bit, more the water running through. It's nice. It feels unique.
Yes,
and I think that's why we put it in S tier. Plus, it suits all types of combat. You can rush here, you can do a long-term game, you can already kind of safely. There's a lot of strategies you can do on this map, and I think that's one of the best attributes about it. So let's go to the next one, Essence Steelworks on the far left.
Okay, so I maybe don't really care for this map as much,
but
I would still give it a B, because here's my rationale.
Okay.
The two sides are very urban, but as a middle area that is very open. My counterpoint would maybe be the fact that it is maybe slightly easier to hold mid from one angle than the other, because of the fact one side is completely open, the other side once again has the cover and that, but you can destroy that cover and push through, so that gets removed late game.
The other problem I have with this map is it very much feels like City 17 Part 2 Electric Boogaloo, where it's two people on the left, two people on right, and only time you're really in center is when you're desperately yelling at someone to take a point, or you've been kicked out of your side and you're like, okay guys, time to go center, or you're winning so much you're like, well, we'll just have center naturally. It's there's not a nice flow to it. There's a giant stop gap in the center to stop your troops from going, and I don't like that. I don't like that design. So it's also, I think, a little too big. I think it's too wide for its own good. Just shrink it a smidge, and I think I'd love this map. But it's just too wide for my liking.
I do like there's multiple ways. I do like that it is a little bit harder to choke point necessarily, because yes, you can lock down certain blocks, but the enemy can always get around or move ways or smoke you out.
Yeah.
And again, I do, even for an urban environment, you're right, it is very similar to City 17. But I still think there's enough there that makes it unique, but I do think it's right on that same page.
Yeah.
Where especially if you consider the fuel, which is again same thing, you're contesting the enemy, and munitions you're also contesting. It's right there on the edge.
Yeah.
City 17, you at least are, I believe, you have your munitions.
I think the main thing is what we're noticing so far is maps that you have to fight for the fuel are a little bit less fun because if you don't get the fuel, you just feel like there's no chance. Like, if we both lose both fuels, we're done. Whereas, like, Leanne Forest, if you lose the side and you're holding the other, but you still have the fuel, you still have some kind of way. There's a comeback mechanic that you can still use. Whereas it's much harder in these maps to have that comeback command.
And again, that's just
mechanic.
our feeling. Remember, this is our opinion on the matter, and because a lot of people like certain maps. Like, for example, I know that a couple other streamers, they hate Leanne Forest, specifically the forest area, but I love it. So again, take our opinion for what they are, an opinion. But take it as an opinion as a guy who played 3,400 hours of this game and a guy who played a lot more. So in any case, let's get to another map, which I think is actually a slightly better version of sort of like what you're talking about, kind of a plain map. Let's go Red Ball. I think Red Ball is easily
S tier.
Yeah, because here's the thing.
It's fun.
It seems like it would be what you're saying, like a very similar scenario where there's lanes, but because of the fact that you are essentially fighting for the main points, all the main very important points are straight in the mid.
Yep.
That's all. So essentially, you are always fighting for those points, which allows for a little bit of, well, instead of just hoarding a point, you can do it. You can definitely hold aside, but instead of allowing for that holding mechanic, it allows for more, like, pretty much bending of the line, so that way neither side is necessarily gaining a ton of resources very quickly or holding both fuel.
It's rare that both people get the both sides of this map because you're kind of trapped. You're kind of trapped holding the fuel and such, and therefore, if let's say the enemy goes center, like, it's a very common mechanic that, like, usually what I would recommend is, like, two people, we choose one star, two people go. And then one person goes center and flanks to ensure that side. And usually if that happens, it's pretty much an even map, and usually the better players wins, like the strategies and whatnot. Because, once you have someone dug in, it's hard to get them out. But if they dig in on both sides, then that just leaves center, and you can just... it's a giant, like, you can just gut the enemy straight through, like, if they don't focus anything there. So it's much more rewarding than City 17, where you can't do that. Like, in City 17, you can't go center and flank each side. It's much harder. You
can. I've seen it done, but the problem is it's so
there's
urban.
No buildings. There's no buildings that they can hunker down in. And, like, there's less, you know what I mean? Like, there's no building you can hunker down on.
Specify if you could.
Let's say if you're going on the left-hand side that's wide in the open, not the forest area. There's someone in that building, but if you flank, the building won't interfere with the flank.
I know. Okay, so what you're saying is if someone is in a defensive position, there's the map is well designed enough to where you can counter it. For example, there are two buildings on both sides of the map. You may think, oh, they're just going to choke point that. But there is cover and debris that blocks the incoming units enough to where you can get close enough and throw incendiary, Molotov, you can call it on an airstrike, whatever you need to do to knock that out. So any strong point can be neutralized. Even the middle buildings are designed to where they can't fire long across the map. They can only fire...
you can cover the star, but not the fuel.
Exactly.
And I've had, like, Russians have, like, 3 MGs, and one Sturm squad just snakes behind them and just destroys the entire line. And it's... because it very much is the enemy loses, but then they come back. It's like, it's a give and take kind of map, and I love those kind of maps. Plus, usually it's kind of usually it's a bit of a draw. And I love games that go long. I love fighting, and I love playing the actual game. I hate 5-minute games. No one likes COH2 in 5 minutes or less. Everyone likes having that long, drag out, ultimate victory kind of game. And this is rewarding to play on for that kind of game.
We should also mention this isn't necessarily a map to where if you control a majority of the points, you're done for. If you control, like, again, if you control mid, but the enemy controls both sides, you're still ranking in munitions. If the enemy even controls all the point, you can do great flanks. Like, you can find where the enemy is weak and press around doing, like, an encirclement tactic. Especially if they're pushing in mid, which we've done. Hell, you can even do encirclement. There's an ability for the Vermont, which is perfect for this map. Which, again, we've seen people like myself try and fail and sometimes succeed with it. But then there's situations where the enemy essentially has majority of the map we call that sucker in. It's great. And it's not just that we should put in. You're good for artillery. You're good for infantry. There's all sorts of different plays. Even in the forest area on the side of the map, you can do close quarters combat. And on the complete opposite side, you can do long range fights with paratroopers with LMGs or something.
It's a nice variety. And it's usually it's a map that usually has longer games, more variety, and longer games, so you can't
also I
argue
like
with
the
it.
design of it as well. But anyway,
we're going on.
We should probably mention the fact that, oh my god, Greyshot, you don't like winter maps, don't you? No, I like winter maps, but I loved it when it had the blizzard. I was one of those few guys that liked the blizzard. But what I will say is Lazarus Ambush is easily one of my favorite maps.
S tier.
Here's the reason why. First off, it is, even though, again, a lot of
guaranteed fuel.
Yeah, well, almost. People do rush it occasionally, but you can push them back. There is a building or like a strong point behind both of them or near both of them, but you can push them back. The middle is wide open.
Yeah.
You have like a trench type, like heavy defensive area on left. You have I believe it's a cemetery on the other side with a church. That's kind of over in that center. It's like, okay, like an open plot of field with hay, but still, you can move. I think it's a cemetery what they're trying to go for, or something like that. But in any case, you have this, again, hard cover that kind of goes to open cover. It's very unique, very different. There's lots of cool little areas for different strategies.
Yeah, each side has the star that they have a slight advantage to.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean you can't take it. Like,
Yes.
if you can take it and hold it, then the advantage just becomes a non-factor.
Yeah, and they fixed the map too.
Yeah, and they updated the map. It's now way more even. You have the one side that's more forested, one side that's more urban. It's, again, just like Leanne not Leanne, like Red Ball Express or Leanne. The kind of like the guarantee of the fuel more so, and the fact that you can have that comeback mechanic means that games are more interesting.
Also, I like how, again, they nicely paced out the stars.
Yes.
So in this map, it's usually you'll have a very entertaining game, and both sides have enough obstacles where if the enemy pushes deep into your territory, oh god, you can pull off some mighty destructive moments.
Yeah, you can flank them. You can or on the opposite, if they try to overextend, you have enough areas where you can like come in and flank them. Like I've had instances where like Yag Tigers, and we had the star in like near the church, and we had the center point. And they charged with a massive armor charge, and we just flanked them from the church area and just gutted them.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of nice opportunities for tank charges, for artillery, for infantry play, close and long distance. So it offers a lot of variety. And it's probably, I would agree, probably the best winter map because of it.
Now, we should probably mention, there is another winter map that's close to my heart, but I can also say it is unbalanced as hell.
Okay.
Remember, Red Chef Winter, we don't count that, so that will be on its own separate thing. I just accidentally added on here. Lazar Factory. Here's the thing. It is also complete unbalanced because of the railways. Because if you lock it down, you can lock it down. But it's a C in my opinion, because even though you can lock it down, there usually what would happen is like this like fuel area would be such an amazing battleground of just everything that even though it would be almost the exact same battle, like example on another map we're gonna mention, there's a certain star that I guarantee you on every single major game, the final battle will be on that star.
The final battle is always on that fuel / star area on Lazar Factory. And it's entertaining.
Yes.
But one battle does not make a map. Yeah. One area does not make a map. And this area does not make a map. So yes, average C. So let's move on to the next one.
Let's go with that map I was talking about, Steppes. I think this is a classic A map. A or S?
I would say A. I think it keeps it from an S from being a little too open. But it came with the game, and I would agree that there's a lot of area too. You have the island to the south, the fuel in the middle, and the 2 stars to the north with the munitions. A lot of different types of fields, mostly longer range. Yeah. And
I also like how, again, people say you must take the island to win. That's not true.
No.
If you let the enemy focus, you cause hell with maybe one player that's really good on there and take the rest of the map, you could easily crush them. And we have. And like I said, the final battle is typically, unless you're this guy and miss a paratrooper squad coming in. Yeah. Or no, was it paratrooper or Fallschirmjäger?
No, it was I think it was Fallschirmjäger.
Yeah, Fallschirmjäger.
No, it was a Panther that hit me, I think.
Yeah, so, it was a glider paratrooper.
But yeah, but no, otherwise, minus that one instance, there are, you're always fighting for that second star to the south. Like, it's always right there.
To
the north. Yeah, it's always the massive tank battle collides, and then whoever wins usually is the last one standing.
It is separate enough to where, again, you can always go for the middle fuel. The stars are nice and evenly paced. Again, you can focus the south, focus the north for the munitions, wherever you want to go. And there's plenty of open territory where if you want to flank the enemy, you can. There's also good spots for close quarters combat, long range combat. Each of the areas are distinct and different callouts. For example, if I said on City 17, it's very hard to pinpoint or call out areas on the map, which is what we're kind of referring to about everything looking a little bit generic.
This one, there's plenty of areas.
Yes, you could say the island.
Valley. The trench, the hill, the open,
whatever
the open
your friends call it, because it's different
North
per
Star,
person.
yeah.
The only thing I could say about this map is generically the island is what people say for the island.
Yeah.
But whatever the case may be, there's enough distinct areas on this map, just like Leon Forest, Lazarus Ambush, Red Ball Express, to where you can call out certain areas.
The one downside I would have is a little open, and I think I would say that I think OKW has a slight advantage on this map, specifically with their light armor and how hard they push. Like with Luke's, like running around here and just shredding anything that's open, because it's such an open map. Your units have to run back to the base. It takes forever, and that means one Luke's can decimate an entire.
Well, that's
army.
on any map.
But this one more so is open, and you has that opportunity.
As you can tell, my brother's not the biggest fan of open like maps.
Yeah.
But that being said, I still think it's good. Now, another map I think that's also very good is Port of Hamburg. I think that's an A map.
I put an S map. I honestly think
there's a reason why I actually will keep it here.
Okay.
Here's my rationale.
Yes.
Choke points. This map does have choke points.
Yes.
That does favor. Well, not as much, but it does still kind of favor certain types of play. Like again, if you let's say lock down this point right here and just cause hell, and that you can, even though it doesn't look like it, you can kind of push the enemy back quite a bit.
I mean,
same. You could say the same thing on both, but I find it very easy to kind of lock the enemy through their side here than over here. Slightly more.
I disagree slightly. I think there's enough little flank. Again, I think there's enough flanking opportunity. I also like the fact there's choke points. I like fighting for every inch on a map. So I would say personally it's an S tier map because the stars are kind of evenly spaced. They're different unique areas. It's kind of bland, I will admit, when it comes to color. But it's a unique setting, being like this, like again, a
German port.
That I honestly like it, and I honestly love playing on it. So
good
it's
artillery, good
maps.
flanks, and there's all sorts of really cool stuff like hiding armor in the deck lines where they pump out ships, and just having a T-34 run at them. They're like, where'd this thing come from?
Yeah, that's it's real entertaining to hide that sucker back there.
But again, you might think it's like, oh, this is easy to hold. No. But in any case, let's pull up another map. Hill 400.
I'd say B.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. Everyone fights for the fuels. That's common. It's a 2v2 type of map, just like City 17 and the others. But in this one, one side can specifically shut down the fuel income because you hold the one side. No, because you hold one point. Okay. And it cuts off the fuel and the star. Okay. So I dislike that because if you take that point, everything's done. Everything is shut off.
I mean, you're right about that, but one thing...
And it basically forces both sides to just abandon middle and fight for your fuels and stars until you finally secure it, in which case, okay, you can stop that and actually fight middle. It feels like a requirement every time you play it. Hold on, guys. We have to go fight on our fuel points for arbitrary about 15, 20 minutes, because if we don't get it, we lose. But... if we finally take it after a brutal campaign, we can then have the fun of fighting in the middle.
I will say, it feels like... this map does feel like, okay, go for your side that's designed because of how the capture points work to make it less likely the Germans can push so deep that they can capture your fuel, because you need to capture a point in order to get the resources. You also need to capture the star, which is more favored to that side.
You need a fuel and a star on one side, a fuel, a star, and just a regular capture point on the other, which is kind of unfair. Yeah. Which is why I would make note of B. Fighting in center is a blast. I love fighting in center on this map, and I like the flanks. I mean, you can.
But it does turn into a clusterfuck in mid. That's what this map. And while there's all sorts of different strategies you can do on other maps, this map you are essentially doing that. Unless you're really good and you lock down both points, great. But for a lot of general players, I feel like that's what's going to happen.
You fight on the sides, and then you get the fun part, and sometimes you don't get dessert, which it's. Red Bull Express, Land Fort, like all those maps, you just have fun playing on. Whereas that one, it very much feels like you get your dessert once you maybe win this battle.
What about the Enforced Winter? What about everyone's favorite map?
Really? This is a favorite map?
No, this is not. This is another generic map of a winter map that no one talks about, no one plays on. When we do play it on, people are like, this is so...
Let's just play Land Forest.
Yeah, let's just play normal Land Forest. It feels like... And I don't know. I feel like how they reposition the points just doesn't make this all that fun.
Okay, let's move on to the next one then.
That's how it's like, Land Forest Winter. And we're moving on.
Yes.
Anyway, so let's go to L'Église. L'Église, I think, is a really good map. Again, I don't like it as much, but it is more unique because there's no necessarily a side that you can necessarily hold. You may think you can hold a side, but both sides can easily capture either's fuel and then fight over mid, and there's all sorts of different ways you can fight on the map.
I don't know. I think there's one fuel in particular that is a
nightmare.
Much easier to fight and take, and if you don't get it and the enemy shuts you out of it, it's game over. At least that's how it feels. If you're on like that, if you're on that south point and you capture the left fuel, you're just like, well, I win. If you cut off the fuel from that one point, okay, I win. You don't get that on the opposite side. If you did, maybe I'd call it balanced. But again, it feels like the one side has advantage taking the fuel, the other side does not. You have to try to make up for that, and I don't like that kind of map. Again, maybe you notice the strangers, but I like guaranteed fuel, and having a fuel that's unbalanced specifically on a map really does not jive with me.
I do think there's enough ways to take the fuel, but I get what you're saying. It is more leaning toward a side, similar to other maps. And I feel like what we're doing is we're putting maps that kind of force you into a certain strategy or a certain motive into this, where maps that allow you to have a little bit more freedom in how you take it, because you can, it doesn't matter what you do in Port of Hamburg, you can do it. Step, same thing. These maps, it's kind of forcing you into that same route.
Yeah, it's forcing you into a one strategy kind of mode. Or you have to go for this side. If you don't, you're dead.
The Lurch Assault is, I think, better map designed out of all of them. The problem is that the victory points are make or break.
Again, Bs are usually so far good maps. They just have one solid
they have a
flaw
couple
with them.
glaring issues.
Yeah, but let's move on to the other winter map that we enjoy. Was it Vilsam?
Yes, Vilsam. I personally think this is this is like the dark horse entry.
Yeah.
I think this is an A. I do, because you have a really interesting urban, like, industrial center. You have a more urban, more kind of factory.
It's a great 2v2 map. Fantastic 2v2
It does turn to a 2v2 map, but the difference between them is I love the gigantic battle in mid.
Yeah.
This would have been S tier if they kept the minefield. That was my favorite, the minefield.
It's better, again, it's better than Hill 400 because it doesn't feel like you can take your side and it doesn't feel like such a chore. It doesn't also feel like the enemy can like murder you if they get like one advantage. It very much feels more fair.
And because the map middle so wide open, you can do a Pickett's charge and actually succeed and completely throw the enemy off by this amazing charge from behind.
100%. You can totally flank them. It's totally an option.
Yeah.
Especially now they took out the minefield.
I personally like that, but hey, some people don't carry minefields, minesweepers. I do. I always do, or at least I try to.
But yeah, no, I'd say it's more fair, and I say it's more fun than the other maps that have that kind of similar issue of fighting over the fuel at the beginning. If you take it, well, you're dead.
Yeah.
Or if you don't take it, you're dead.
And if the enemy holds the hill, great. Focus on the other one, focus mid, you win the game. GG. Because, oh boy, I've seen that happen. That's hilarious. Let's focus on General Mud. Where would you put the muddy map?
C.
Okay, that's actually a fair spot.
It's a map. And
it's a map.
It's a map that even if they got rid of the mud, it's still not fun because it's so wide.
So there's such a massive hill. I get it. It's hill 331, but there's so many massive hills on this map that you can easily choke point. Like the two side map points.
Yeah.
If the enemy controls that, good luck removing them.
Yeah.
It's literally like there's like 2 roads up that they can literally fire at you.
It's also such a distance. It's like the length of steps, and it feels like the length of steps, but you actually have to get to the point, and then the farthest point you can from your base, and then have to retreat when you lose. It's if you go for center, it's like okay, but like it doesn't feel like you can go far enough in center if the enemy have like both flanks that you can do anything really. And then once they get light armor, it's again without the mud, the light armor comes at you faster, so it just feels GG. Yeah. So more flaws than equal to what the uniqueness of the map and whatnot. So I'd just say it's a C. It's a map.
Yep. Another map that I could say is a map is this, which I don't even know the name to because it's not an auto match and it's just in there. This is an actual 4v4 map apparently.
What is it called?
Accurate and Anchory or something. And I've never... we've played it a few times. It's fine. But like I said, it's listed as as a 4v4 map, but I can't think of anyone that has talked good things about this map or said anything good about this map. I've played it. It's fine. There's nothing remarkable about it.
I just put it as a D because if it's not remarkable, it's not good. Like, at least the other ones are like, yeah, I'll play it. But
Face Auto Stuff is a better, like, could be such an amazing map. It wasn't for the goddamn
it's
river.
The venom of COH2 maps.
Having an island that's literally an island around ice is genius. Having a river that cuts through half your map,
not
dumb. Or, sorry, 2/3 way through your map. Dumb.
Okay, what's the last map?
Hill 331.
Okay, this one I have some words on.
Oh shit! I was talking about Hill 331 when I was talking about General Mud. Fuck. That's how much General Mud and Hill 331 kind of merged together for me.
Are they
for
not the same?
For the hills. That's a fuck up on my part.
No, that's Hill 331.
No, there's General Mud and Hill 331. Remember how I said the 3 hills and the easy choke point? That's what I was referring to. That's how much this map is ingrained in my head that's 331.
Oh, God, no.
That's how much these two maps fuse together for me. Especially because, let's be honest, Hill 331, you can't play. And that's why I would still list it as C tier. General Mud is just sort of wide open map, like you're saying, and stuff like that. Yeah, I can see it being a C tier as well. There's just not much there. It was a theater of war map they repurposed for it.
It's entertaining. It's like you have to go for your fuel, which is like and then the center part is a giant hill, so every time your tank fires, you hit the ground.
I'm gonna seem like such an idiot.
Man. Honestly, I didn't even know you were telling the difference.
Yeah, how sad is that? Is these two maps are so converged in my head that I thought Hill 331 was General Mud just because of how much pain and suffering this map is, by how long it takes to engage, how like how much they fuse together. Again, I know they both have mud, but Jesus,
it's just bad design in regards to like Hill 331. General Mud is so open. There's so many buildings, but it doesn't feel like there's any distinct place.
It's cool to hold down.
Has distinct places, but by the time you get there, it's like you run all the way back to base. Then you finally hike up to the top of the mountain. You get if the enemy's fortified, you're just running all the way back to base, and you get to try again. It's not fun to play into, and it's not a map I would recommend.
Wow,
which is why it's a C.
Jesus Christ. If I forget about your map, that's a problem. If I say General Mud and I'm thinking of another map, and I'm thinking of that map and I can't even remember the other map, oh God.
Yeah. Well, in any case, those are our maps for COH2 for our 4v4. Again, these are our opinions, our favorites. So if you have a favorite map, let us know in the comments below. If you have a favorite custom map, let us know in the comments below.
Let us know how I'm slowly getting dyslexia and or Alzheimer's by my loss of memory. Oh my God. Or just me switching two objects together.
Listen, all the maps are just fusing together now. You've played too many.
I played 3,400 hours of this game. It's all fusing into one.
And replays. And replay.
Oh God. All right, I need a vacation. Kat, you're in charge. You're doing these from now on.
Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this overview. And next time, we'll probably be doing the 3v3 map. So until then, we'll see you all later.
See you guys next time. Hello, everyone. Before you guys go, I want to tell you about these incredible people like Milam, Ace, Chris Bailey, Folkvard, Javibuxi, Jfoe, Joey G240, Josh, jrchicklis, Just Thomas Plays, Little Koosh, Mustaach, Onlyplayapples, PyroShark, Rifle, Streakingwookie, White Hot D, GTA, Jakub Ocwieja, Nathan Angus, and Cedarteal. Thank you guys so much for your incredible Patreon support. This has been Greyshot 117 and his amazing patrons, and I'll see you guys next time.